Today we will be learning how to add and subtract polynomials. So this is 4.1a, day 2. Okay, so we just want to review a few things. A monomial is a number a letter, or a variable, or a product of numbers and variables. So for example, we have 5x, that would be a monomial. 3x squared could be a monomial. 9x squared y to the 7th power is a monomial. So that is still considered a single term. So remember, terms are separated by addition and subtraction signs. So if you don't see those, then that is a single term, no matter how many letters and exponents and numbers it has. It could also have a fraction as a coefficient. That is still a monomial, a single term. And a constant is a single term, a monomial. Monomials with the same variables and exponents are like terms. So we've definitely talked about like terms this semester. And we're going to recall some of that. So just in case you've forgotten, let's review what like terms are. So they have to have the same variable raised to the same exponents. So the coefficients can be different, but the number or the variables and the exponents next to the variables have to be the same. So we're going to go through each of these examples and categorize them with their like terms. So let's start with 7y. 7y needs to be grouped into the column where there is only a y and there's no exponent. Negative 8xy would have to go here, where it's xy, no exponents. 5x squared would go in the x squared category. 4xy squared. Now, that cannot go with the xy or the x squared. It would have to go with 4xy squared in that column. The next one, 1/2 yx. Now, it doesn't say that they have to be in the same order. They just have to have the same variables and exponents. So it would actually go here. Actually, I'm going to put that in the same color. Okay, and negative 2/3 is a constant. There's no variable, so that is a constant. 2x squared, that would go in the x squared category. 10y squared x. That's going to go in the xy squared. Remember, order doesn't matter as long as the exponent 2 is with y and x has the exponent of 1, which is invisible. Negative y. That's going to go here. And the last one, 29, there's no variable, so that is a constant. Combining like terms means adding and subtracting the like terms. However, when it comes to terms containing variables, only the coefficients should be added or subtracted. So when we are adding and subtracting with polynomials, you're not going to be changing any exponents. You're only going to add or subtract the coefficient. Remember, if you need to rearrange terms to combine them, you must take the sign in front of the term. That is what tells you whether that number, that coefficient, is negative or positive. So we are going to rewrite these into combine like terms, write them in standard form, and state the name. So you may want your notes from yesterday to help you on this. So let's identify the like terms in number 1. We have negative 3x and 7x, so we can combine those. In standard form, we would put the x term first, and then 2 doesn't have anything to add, nothing to combine, so that would be my final answer, 4x plus 2. And we would call this a linear binomial. It's 2 terms. The degree is 1, which makes it linear. Number 2, let's combine the like terms. So we have, I start with the highest exponent. Negative 9x cubed and negative 5x cubed is negative 14x cubed. Next, I'll move on to 3xy, because that still has an x in the variables. There's no other xy term, so plus 3xy. Then we have negative 7y. Again, there's nothing to combine that with. And then negative 8 is my constant. Actually, this is, sorry, it's cut off on my page. xy. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to go back and change this one because I can combine that. Negative 8xy and positive 3 is negative 5xy. So now I've combined all of the terms. And to name this, there are 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. The degree is 3, so this is a cubic trinomial. Number 3, starting with x squared, that's the highest exponent. We're going to combine 1 and negative 2. So that would be a negative 1 or just negative x squared. We can combine 3x and 4x, which is positive 7x. And then the last one would be 9, nothing to combine that with. This is 3 terms again, so it's a trinomial. The degree is 2, so this is a quadratic trinomial. So now that we've reviewed like terms and combining like terms, let's start adding and subtracting polynomials. To add or subtract polynomials, combine like terms. Write the answer in standard form, exponents highest to lowest, and do not change the variables and exponents. That's the most important thing here. Do not change the variables and exponents. So, when we are adding, I'm going to write it over here. We are adding in these 2 examples. You're just going to rewrite this without the parentheses, because all we have to do is combine like terms. So rewrite without the parentheses. And now combine like terms. I like to just go ahead and start with the highest exponent because that would be my first term, x cubed. There are no other There are, because I forgot to write a cubed there. So I have a positive 1x cubed here and a negative 1x cubed. So negative 1 and positive 1 is 0. So those cancel each other out. Then we have negative 2x squared and positive 3x squared. When we add those together, we get a positive 1. You do not have to write the 1, x squared. Then I have positive 3x, no other like terms, and my constant, negative 12. So that is my final answer, x squared plus 3x minus 12. This is a quadratic trinomial. Okay, number 6, again, rewrite these. When it's adding, you're just going to rewrite without parentheses. Now, if you end up with this here, where the first term is negative and you have a plus sign, you're just going to eliminate the plus sign. Now let's combine like terms. Negative 2x squared and negative 2x squared is negative 4x squared. 5x, and this is a 1x, is plus 6x. And then negative 6 and positive 6 cancel each other out. So your final polynomial is negative 4x squared plus 6x. So this is a quadratic binomial. Okay, so that's adding. Fairly simple. All you're doing when you are adding is combining like terms. When you're subtracting, you do have to do something different. There is a subtraction sign between these two polynomials. So, for this first polynomial, no change. So I'm just going to rewrite 4x cubed plus 5x squared plus 7. For the second one, if you are subtracting, change all signs. You are distributing a negative 1 here. So when I rewrite this, instead of positive 5x, I'm writing negative 5x squared plus 2x plus 3. So now I will combine like terms, and I'll have my final answer. So first, highest exponent is 4x cubed. There are no other x cubed terms. Nothing to combine that with. Now I have positive 5x squared and negative 5x squared. When I add those together, they cancel out. Next would be 2x, no other like terms. Let's see. And I don't like that one. Positive 7 and positive 3 is 10. So that is my answer after subtracting those polynomials. This is a cubic trinomial. Let's do one more subtraction example. So first polynomial, you will not change. Second trinomial, you're going to need to distribute the negative 1, which changes the sign of each term on the inside of the parentheses. So negative 3x squared plus 4x minus 1. First term will be 2x cubed. Second term, we have 5x squared and negative 3x squared. 5 and negative 3 is 2, positive 2. Then we have 4x and negative 8 and negative 1, which is negative 9. So this one has 4 terms. Anything higher than 3, we just call it a polynomial. The highest exponent is 3, so this is a cubic polynomial. So in today's practice, you will be adding and subtracting polynomials.